Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and I'm very excited today to be continuing the Massive Darkness 2 playthrough here using Tabletop Simulator, using a demo, and this is quest number 1. If you haven't checked out part number 1, which you will definitely want to do if you want to understand how we got to where we currently are, I'll put a link to that in the top right-hand corner of this video right now. So what we're going to talk about is a few things that I actually missed from the last video. Just a couple things, actually. One was a big one because it actually hurts me more than anything else because I wasn't taking as much of experience as I should have every single time I killed a leader. And I'll talk about how that works. So let's say hypothetically here we have the paladin who is, let's say, in this space right here. And he goes ahead and attacks these 3 individuals as part of the mob. If he kills all 3 of them, he's going to get 1 XP for the minion, 1 XP for the minion. And what I was missing every single time I killed a leader is the leader itself actually counts for an XP on its own. Then in addition, because it's a leader, you get 2 XP for everybody in the party. So I was missing out on that 1 XP every single time I killed a leader. So there was probably 4 or 5 that was spread across the 2 characters that I missed out on. But because I missed out on them, I'm not retroactively going to add them in. I'm just going to suffer my own fate and consequence by, because I didn't take them, I don't get them. That's simple as that. Also, there was a lot of people in the comments that talked about the lock feature and how I can use that to my advantage. I have not been able to figure out how to get this lock thing to work correctly just yet, but I'm hoping that that will work out in the future. The other thing I want to do is remove this card here because as part of the last individual that was killed in this space, this card was here, and the last character that was sitting in this space died because of the Warhelm, which gave a wound to the attacker at the end of the last video. And the rogue was the one who did that. So the rogue should actually be getting a rare treasure as well as this card. And this one here goes in the discard. This is kind of more of a cleanup that I didn't do at the end of the last video than a mistake. It just was something I forgot to grab. So rare treasure here. We'll give this over to the rogue. That is going to be a mana potion. Not bad. So I got a few things going on here. I got a great sword. Got leather gloves. I've actually got a couple items on top of each other in here. So let's see. That, the longbow, the greatsword. So a few things that I could potentially ditch. I also could, if I didn't think I needed these, I could actually upgrade. I could actually go to the forge and do quite a bit here. So I've got options. And then I also have this crossbow too. So we'll put that down here with the pile. Okay, and then this rare treasure token goes back in the bag. Now we have to make a decision on, and that's really it for the corrections. That's the only things I really wanted to mention. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead and start the turn. But the thing I want to mention in terms of the actual objectives of the game is that right now my focus in this turn is to get this objective activated. And I'll have no problem because both are in this room and I can get there no problem. But the reason it's important is because of this in the actual setup of the game. It says, at the start of a darkness phase where both objective tokens have been flipped, the door automatically opens. The door is right here. Remove the portal token from the map, which is this one right here, and place this big roaming monster inside of this chamber on that spot. And there is no spawn for this chamber. So none of these spots, there's 3 of these icons, would normally spawn something. None of that spawns, just a big roaming monster in there. And then ignore the darkness track from now on. The reason that's huge is because the next darkness track move will actually put me onto another mob coming through the portal. So it's in my best interest to actually activate this token right away so we can trigger the end game and get right to going after the big boss. So with all that said, who do we want to start with? I think I'm going to start with the rogue, and taking a look at the character loadouts right now, you can see my leather armor is not fit for a big time roaming monster battle or boss battle, anything along those lines. So I probably want to grab the armor that I have sitting over here on the paladin that isn't being made use or isn't being used at all. So first action is going to be to actually trade, but before that I need to take 3 things out of this bag. So we got a shadow, we've got poison, and move up to 2 zones before attacking. Nice. Okay, well first off, shadow's not really something I'll be using, so I'll use that as part of the first turn. I'm going to go ahead and move, so I'm going to get no benefit from that whatsoever. And when I move, I get those movement points I love so much. And I'm sitting in a room with a forge, which I will use in a second. But first, like I said, I'm going to take this card from my paladin. I might just give him this one because I don't need it. And I don't have to give him anything, but I'm going to choose to do it anyway. I'm putting this on. So now I've got a lot more dice for defense going on here, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to interact with the forge. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all 3 of these and I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm going to bump this thing up to the rare treasure. Now, I might have actually exchanged these ones to get an epic treasure. That could have also been a thing as well. And I could do that, but the thing is, there's a great mana potion in there that I might want to use if my mana gets low, because I had the ability to bump up my attacks in multiple ways, like Heavy Mittens and Shadow Form 1. So keeping mana handy, or at least available, could be useful. So I'm just going to take a rare treasure here. What do we get? Ah, throwing knives. That's not bad, and it's something that doesn't even sit in my in any of my slots. Deal 3 wounds to one enemy in line of sight. So I simply just chuck these things. And what is the HP on these guys? Look at that, 3. So that would work out perfectly. I could just go right after them. So I've already gone ahead and done one action. I've already traded once, and I've already gone ahead and dealt with the forge. So I probably want to come into here, or I could say forget that and head out and actually do some attacks. Maybe I should go attack. That might make sense, actually. Tough call. Tough call indeed. Yeah, no, I'm going to go out and attack. So let's do a movement here. So we'll move, and I don't need the poison one is the one I probably... Well, I could do this one. Move up to 2 spaces, allow me to go to 1, 2. Yeah, and then I can attack right after it. So I'm going to choose to attack. I'm going to make use of this, which allows me to move first before I attack. So 1 and 2, and now I'm out in the hallway area. Now I get to attack as part of that, which is pretty sweet. Can I hit from 2 away? Yes, I can. I have the javelin. I also have these throwing knives, which I can use instantly. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to delete the throwing knives to literally throw it at one of these enemies, killing off one of the demon minions that quickly. So that's quite nice. These are the demon minions right here. I get 1 XP for that kill. Up to 8. Okay, so now my attack involves me being in the darkness. And I get 2 attacks in this, is just sweet. So 1, and then I get 2 yellow dice because this is a ranged attack. And what else can I add to this? I can use a mana to get the ability from the Shadow Form 1, and I can use a mana to get the ability from the Heavy Mittens that I'm wearing. That gives me 2 more swords to the total of whatever I get from these dice. So I'm pretty happy with that. These guys get 1 defensive die, and then because there's only 1 minion, 1 monster die. And then what do they do on their... So the hand will deal a wound to the attacking or defending. Okay, so hands are bad. All right, here we go. Let's see how this pans out. I don't think there's anything else I want to do just yet. I might end up using my potion in the near future. We'll see. Oh, that's heavy, 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 heavy. So we get all kinds of mana here, so that's good. 1, 2, and 3. And then we have a claw hand here. So the claw hand's going to throw a wound at me. So I don't like that. Can't stop it. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 plus the bonuses that I added. So I have 5. But 2 defense takes away 2 of these. So really it's just 1 plus the 2 over here is 3. So 3 gets through, and that is enough to actually kill off one of the other minions. So that's good. 1 minion down. That works out pretty nicely. So that's going to be a 9, and then I can attack 1 more time within this action here. So I'm going to go ahead and attack again, but the monster die is now removed. It's just these dice right here. Okay, so I get all kinds of mana. Now at this point, I have my max of 4. I can't go any higher than 4, so I can't make use of that fully, but I get 2 here. Oh, and I didn't spend anything. Shoot, that was a mistake. I was planning on spending something there, so I'm going to say in hindsight I did, because I was going to spend those swords. I always wanted to do that to make sure that I killed this thing. So retroactively doing that, you can consider that cheating. We'll go with that. This leader's dead, because that was what I planned to do. Just to wipe it out this turn. Okay, so that is going... And this is where things change, because remember, last time when I killed a leader, I didn't give myself 1 XP for it. So I do get 1 XP, which will bump me up to 10. But now the party, everybody gets 2 XP. So now I go to 12. And the paladin's going to bump up to 8. Now, one other thing to make mention of here is the fact that we're currently on level number 3. And this is something else that I missed. At the very end of the last video, we had a mob spawn, and I accidentally pulled from the 1 to 2, and I should have pulled from the 3 to 4. So that's worth mentioning right now. So one of the mobs that was spawned in this group here should have been the 3 to 4 mob, but I'll be keeping my eye out for that in the future, if it even happens. These guys are now gone, and thanks to the rogue is going to get the benefit of all this. So the demons are gone. We'll go ahead and take this card and put it over here. We're going to take the common treasure, put it back in the treasure bag. We'll shuffle this up. This goes to the rogue, and I also get a common treasure flip here. Oh, look at that. We get ourselves some pants. Wow, even more defense now. This is amazing. Okay, so the rogue is ready to rock. Now at this point here, I have done quite a bit. So I'm done that action, and I think is that it? Or oh, that was only my second action. Wow. So I still have another one. I guess I can head down here. I don't see why not. Um, yeah, and I don't need poison at this point. So I'm gonna go one and then put myself right here in this light area. So that was a fairly effective turn. That worked out pretty good. So let me recount my steps here. I was in here. I traded for one with the movement point. I did the forge thing. So that was one action. Then I used the next one was a 1-2 bounce out and an attack as part of one of the tokens that I had down here. And then, yes, I did 2 attacks, killed everything that was there, gained all the experience. And then now I'm moving 2. That is the end of my turn. So I didn't miss it on anything. The only thing I could do is I could heal myself up to 6 by using this. But this has a heal of 3. So I kind of want to wait on that for now. So now we'll go with the Paladin, and I know the Paladin wants to interact with this objective, but do I want to interact with a Forge? Not necessarily just yet. I don't have enough items to make that happen, but I could if I go in here and deal with the common treasure. So let's go with this extra move point. I'm going to do a movement, and I'm going to move into here. And then here we're going to interact with this common treasure token. Maybe this will give me what I need to do a Forge, to do something fun with the Forge here. Yep, it probably does because I don't really want this longsword anymore. So that is going to be, it was 1 to move in, 1 to do the treasure, and then maybe for the third one, I'll just deal with the objective token. This is going to give me 5 XP. So I'm going to go from 8 to 13, up like this, getting closer to 15. And that's going to be my first action completed. Okay, so for the second action, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go 1 into here. I'm going to use the forge and I'm going to ditch all 3 of these in order to get a rare treasure. And look what we got here. Check that out, steel gauntlets. So we'll place these steel gauntlets right there. That's nice. That worked out nicely. And then do we want to do anything else? Nope. If I moved out, interacted here, I can move to here now. And that's my second action done. And then for my third action, I could actually move all the way up and be in the light space with my other character. That works perfect. Okay, so the question is now, I don't plan on blessing anything here, I don't think. I think I'm pretty happy with how things are sitting. So at this point now, we look at the enemy phase, but there's no enemies. We've wiped them all out. So now we move to the beginning of the darkness track, or I should say level up would happen, but there's no leveling up happening. We need 15. We have 12 with the rogue. We have 13 with the paladins, so no levels. But now we go to this thing we talked about earlier on, which is at the start of darkness phase, which is right now. Both objective tokens have been flipped. The door opens up, and now the portal goes away, and we have our big bad show up. So this door opens up now. This portal token is considered to be out of here. So it's gone. This darkness track token no longer matters. We ignore the darkness track going forward, so this can go away, which means it won't move and it won't trigger a roaming monster because the portal no longer exists. We also ignore every single spawn inside of here, but we still put treasure. So we're going to go ahead and take a treasure. Common one goes there, and a common one goes there. We also need the big bad, so we'll go ahead and place that individual in here, just like so. And we also need the card. So it's a level 3 to 4 card as depicted from this scenario over here. And this level 3 to card, this is a roaming monster essentially, which is being used as kind of a boss. But just so you know, when you're playing Massive Darkness 2, there are boss cards that are bigger than this and way more threatening. This is just kind of they're using a roaming monster essentially as like an end boss for the scenario. But the actual term boss relates to really, really nasty big creatures in the dungeon, which are bigger than this. You can see here that this individual is going to activate in 2 different ways depending on whether it's in a shadow zone or not in a shadow zone. And then it also has its defense listed as well as its attack values. So you don't pull a loot card, or I shouldn't say a loot card, but an item card and jam it underneath. It's already well known what its attack's going to be. So with all that said, we definitely need to grab the health for this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a ton of tokens over here. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, And I know I could have drawn this a different way, but I just didn't. And I'll take 2 5s. So that's going to be a total of 20. Why is it 20? Because if you take a look up here, it is 10 per hero. So we have 2 heroes, and this is where the game will scale again. So 20 HP. All right, so we're ready to rock now, and this should be interesting to see whether we can actually handle all this fun. So the one thing to note with this is that this creature is now in this location and spawns here, but remember that the actual enemies activate before the darkness phase. So being that we're in the darkness phase, this enemy doesn't activate this turn, which means it comes back around to the heroes, which is quite sweet. So the heroes are going to come back up again, and I have decisions to make. This is where we need to strategize. So this thing, as it states in the card, when it does activate in the future on an enemy phase, it's going to do one of these two things. If this creature is in a shadow zone, then it's going to move to a zone of the hero with the most health. So it's talking about the most health that's currently on the character, not the max health, and attack that hero twice. And if that is not a thing, like it's not in a shadow zone and it's actually in a different zone, whether it be one of these red zones or a light zone over here, the red zones are still considered to be light because you can see there's crystals there. So it's still light. Only the shadows are these darkened areas. So if that's the case, then this thing's going to take 5 wounds because it's in a light or a lit area. And then it's going to move to the nearest shadow zone. So basically, we can attempt to try to pull it into light. And we ironically are in a light space right now. So if I stay there, and with the characters that I have here, especially with magic, now magic's not a good one because magic needs to be 1 away. So that's kind of bad. But the good news is it's going to be coming after my rogue based on this card because it is in a shadow zone. So it will try to move to the zone where my rogue is, and my rogue can attack from 2 ways. So I could leave my rogue right here in the light zone, and it will come into this zone, which is a plus for us because it eventually will hurt itself in the light zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the paladin activate first. I'm going to move the paladin into here to be within shooting distance of this thing. The next thing that I want to do, and that's kind of a waste because I just moved one. So I could trade. Is there anything worth trading? Probably not at this point. I don't think, unless there's something on this. No, I still like what I've got here. This staff is still pretty awesome and allows you to spend mana to get additional dice. It's still really powerful. This is a really good common item. It's really, or a level 1 to 2 item. It's surprising how good that is. So we'll go 1 movement here to burn 1 action. That's not the best. Second action is going to be to go ahead and attack. So I am right now in a lit zone. I'm not in the shadow. So that's the only downside of this. So what I could do is I could use my extra movement to actually go into the same space because I can actually attack with magic in the same space. And now I'm in darkness. So I can take advantage of the shadow die, which I want to do. I get 2 orange dice, so 1 and 2. I can spend 1 mana here in order to throw a yellow die into the mix. So that's even better. I can also spend an additional mana over here from my gauntlets to throw another yellow die in. So now I've really got some options. And then this thing has 2 blue dice and 2 black dice going into the equation to defend and attempt to hurt me with. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else I can really do here. So we're going to go with this and see how this pans out. So the first one was move in. Second action now is going into the attacks. All right, so, well, that's weird. We have a die show up on top of another die. All right, so we're going to do mana first. So I get 1, 2 mana back. That's good. Actually, another 1 back too. So 5, that's my max. Perfect. So that resolves this die. Partially resolves this die here. We have an actual claw hit, so we know it's going to hit me for 1. That's not good. Look at my health is not in the best shape. And on defense, the hand symbol says if the hero's on the same zone as this boss, then all defensive values count as claws instead. Oh no! Oh my gosh. So while resolving the claws, like I just did this one, these actually turn... Oh no, there's no hand symbol. So that doesn't trigger. That doesn't trigger, but it would. Oh, that's so bad. I didn't realize that. I am so lucky. I could have killed myself there easily. So the scratch is already resolved. These dice would have turned into scratches if I had have had a hand symbol. Thank goodness I didn't. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. That's crazy amount of damage. I'm pretty happy with that. So that worked out in my favor for sure. So we'll just go ahead and take all of these and toss them. 7 damage and risked my own death there. The thing that really sucks though is I was hoping to potentially get this shadow mode ability, which would allow me to heal everyone that happens to have the aura. But the downside of that logic is the fact that if it heals my paladin up, my paladin will have the most health based on its maximum health. And then this thing will attack the paladin instead of going to the light zone, which is where I want it to go, in order to eventually get hit by the 5 light damage. So I kind of don't want to actually have the paladin heal up. And I do have 2 Lightbringer tokens, so I could do a little bit of tomfoolery here and purposely take this aura off of my character for this attack. And this is actually really cool because at any point in time, which I'm going to do right now as a good example, I can take this aura off my character, which I'm going to do. And this is going to make sure that when this actually triggers, the only thing that's going to heal is my character over here. Even though I need the health, I'm going to do it because strategically, I want this thing to end up moving on its activation over to this zone versus staying where it currently is. So we're going to go ahead with that. So the first time I'm ever going to actually avoid trying to heal myself, which is strange. Okay, so we've now got that resolved, and I have one more action to go, so I might as well attack again. So I've got these 2 dice, and again, if I want to add 2 more, I have to pay 2 mana, which I certainly will do because my attacks are actually quite decent. We're adding this into the mix, and there's a chance here, guys, that I could die. So basically, if I happen to get a scratch on one of these dice, I'm going to die before my hits even get through. Like, I'll get knocked out, I should say, not die. So this is still a risk for me. But I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway because it might be worth it. And even if I die, I have 2 chances to bring myself back. So let's see how this goes. All right, so the hand symbol happened, which is bad because that is going to kill me. Or knock me out. Because the hand symbol is the first thing. Or I should say the mana happens first to resolve, but there's no mana here. I don't gain anything there. The hand symbol's next, and the hand symbol then triggers this to turn any shields to claws, and that will instantly turn this to a claw, which is enough to take me down. So that is going to knock me out, which means all this wonderful damage that I have here does not happen, from my understanding. Now, I could be wrong on that. I might need somebody to actually potentially correct me if I'm wrong there on that, but I believe just based on how combat is resolved, and I won't go through this, but you can check the rulebook for yourself, that all of this on the dice happens after you resolve the enemy dice. So I'm knocked out. I can't take advantage of those hits anymore. At least that's how I'm playing it anyway. So that was uneventful. So my character is now down and out, and in order to get back in the game at the next round, I'll be able to use a Lifebringer token to bring him back. Okay, so now I can use the rogue. The rogue can attack from distance and is in a perfect spot. The downside is the rogue is currently inside of the light area. So I need to really hope to find a shadow token in here. And look at that, a shadow right off the bat. Perfect. So I'm going to do that. We're going to do an attack with the shadow die. We already know that the boss uses these 4 dice down the middle. And what do we use for the rogue here? Well, we have 2 yellow dice. The javelin allows me to do 2 attacks here, so that's pretty sweet for 1 action. I can pay a mana to get a boost from shadow form, so I will do that. That gives me 1 additional sword going in, and then this one, heavy mittens, gives me another sword. So I have 2 swords going in. That's as good as it's going to get, I believe, and we can go ahead and roll now. Now I have 4 HP, so I'm doing pretty good, but if I get in a dangerous situation, I can go ahead and heal. So 4, I should be safe. Famous last words, but again, there's a risk there. So let's go ahead and see how this pans out. Okay, so I end up getting 4 mana back. That's a lot. Wow. Happy about that. The claw happened, which is bad. Or so I should say the hand symbol happened, which is bad. So the hand symbol is going to turn defense to claw. So I have 2 claws, which is 2 hits. So I'm going to need to use that healing potion. So 2 hits. And then this defense now no longer counts as a defense. So my 2 swords get through on top of the 2 I had from this, which is 4 damage. So 4 damage is gone from this guy. That was a decent hit. And at this point, before I do my second attack, I'm going to go ahead and heal. So I think this would be a good time to heal. And I'll give myself 3 health because I'm scared of that ability to hit me. And we're going to roll again. And this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take 2 mana to spend in order to boost my attack. And we're going to roll this off and see how it goes. All right, so we get 1 mana back. The claw turns any defense the hand turns any defense to claw, but claw marks, but there is no defense symbol, so we're good there. I have 5, including the 2 I spent over here. Damage, so that's huge. So this is gone. Wow, the rogue is just making short work of this thing. So that's going to be it for the first action. I performed 2 attacks. So I could do this again. And I probably will. I don't see why I wouldn't. So at this point, though, going into the second action, I no longer get the shadow die. Because I only got the benefit of that because of this. Because I'm in a light space. So this time around, I'm going to use the yellow die one, which will give me an additional yellow die. So I'll go in with 3 yellow dice. So I don't get the purple one, but I do get an additional yellow. That's not bad. And then I get all these mixed in. I'm going to spend 2 mana to bump up my abilities. And we're going to roll this off. Oh, look at all the hits there. Okay, so first off, the scratches are going to take me down 2. That's no good. I keep calling them scratches or claws, but don't know the actual official term there. And then I gain, I forgot, I gain a mana there. Saw that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. One of those is blocked. So 3. And then I paid for 2. So 5. And that's it. That is it. That is going to kill us. So the rogue literally just wiped the floor with this boss. Now, the one thing I didn't do that I should have done when this card came over is you'll notice right here, there is treasure. So I should have actually drawn treasure. So there should have been 1 common treasure, 1 common treasure. And then you'll see this one specifically states that it doesn't come from the treasure bag. It's actually an epic treasure. So you get an epic treasure. So I'm not going to put the token there, but normally you'd have a bunch of spare tokens and you just place it. This one was specific to the levels of the hero. I'm just stealing it for now. We're going to resolve all this because I killed this thing. So we get a common treasure for the rogue, common treasure, and then the coolest part of all, we get an epic weapon. What is it? Check that out. A golden axe. So the rogue is going to happily, the javelin's amazing. I'd probably give the javelin over to the paladin, but it doesn't matter. This satisfies the win condition at this point for the one-shot scenario. We have killed the Incubus Lord. This thing is out of here. Of course, I just knocked myself out, but my paladin did suffer a defeat himself, but would come back to life after spending a Lifebringer token in the future anyway. So that is going to do it, because as you can see for the secret ritual, that is the only thing we need to do is defeat that creature. Now, if you're playing in a campaign situation, how all this resolves is different, of course. It won't just be the loot that you get here. There's going to be carryover going into the next, next scenario, I imagine. Also, your XP that you've gained to this point, you're probably going to be able to either keep moving into the next scenario so you can continue to level up, or it will cash in some way. But because I'm playing this as a one-shot scenario with this demo, I don't have all that campaign information here, so I have no idea how that's going to, change over. Think of this as a one-shot scenario, but I will show you a couple cool things from this deck here, because there's a lot of things that are hidden. So I'm going to show you like the door cards, for instance, some of the ones we didn't see. So like Blood Ritual Room, for instance, Just a Room, Frozen Chamber, Learning Room, Crowded Chamber, Treasure Trap Room. Okay, and then if you want to see some of the actual roaming monsters here, like here's an example of a bunch of the roaming monsters. You can see their abilities. And then, of course, we have those same roaming monsters, but at higher levels. And this is why the game, I really like this scaling, because now the scaling that used to happen in Massive Darkness #1 was once you move from one tile to the next tile, that was the next level. Whereas now they do it like you can bounce around between tiles as much as you want. It's really about the XP that you gain. And then once you hit levels on your XP track, whoever's got the highest XP level dictates, what level the actual mobs are going to be at. Very similar to Zombicide that way, right? Instead of it being a tile by tile approach like MD1 was. So here's a good example. So if you want to see the kind of the changes between maybe a similar boss as the levels go up, this is an example of one. So you can see this one here gives you two regular treasure from the bag, or just 2 treasure from the bag, 1 epic. It's 5 per hero. And here's the dice layouts. Wow, that's a little scary. And then the abilities. And then over here, you can see things getting increasingly more exciting. It's 8 per hero. The dice are going up on defense. Way more dice. Even on the attacks now are getting more aggressive. And then the final one here is just bonkers. So there's definitely lots of scalability within the game, and this is again just a demo, so it's not showing all of the cards and all of the different treasure levels that are available. This is just what's needed for this scenario. So that's going to do it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope this was informative and helps you make an informed decision on the ongoing Kickstarter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.